So I wonder, do we have the same chemistry in these cells? Because if we do, whew. Welcome back, guys. And I got a new mic because I've had complaints about the wind noise every video. Even though I was using 2 Bond socks, it still wasn't good enough for you guys. And what are we going to talk about today? It's technology gone too far. Like this microphone, for example. We were doing well with the Bond socks, weren't we? But we had to push it too far. And now look where we are. No, that's a joke. The microphone is good. But what we're going to talk about is not fly-by-wire, drive-by-wire. I think I don't know about fly-by-wire, to be honest. And if you don't know what it means, don't worry, I'll explain it all. Drive-by-wire, as you know, I use an old car from 1991, I believe, the Tarago. It's the same as a Previa, it's an old van, and it's just super reliable. This thing just runs like a clock, even when you haven't started it in a whole year, and it's just running on this old petrol. It just starts up instantly, and it never skips a beat. It just goes and goes. Not the most efficient thing, but it is a van, so it's not aerodynamic at all. But what we're talking about is drive-by-wire. It's something I just can't get my head around it. I mean, I understand what it is, but I don't see why anyone would possibly want this in their car. What it basically means, right? Most cars, up until like recently, were all mechanically linked from the steering wheel to the actual wheels that steer your car, right? You know, your steering wheel, you turn a bit, the wheels will turn a bit. It's mechanically linked. It's like, if I move this fork down, it has to move, doesn't it? It's not gonna fail. Look, I'll move it from here to there. It's so reliable, isn't it? It has to move, because it's mechanically linked, right? And now recently what they're doing, they've severed that link and now they're going drive-by-wire. So what happens, basically what you're doing now in one of these new cars, you move the steering wheel and it's not connected to the wheels at all. What it does, it just gives inputs into a computer. So you're basically playing a video game at this level, turning that wheel, telling the computer what you want to do, and then the computer is mechanically linked to the wheels, not you anymore. It's all up to the computer. So as long as nothing fails in that electronic system, it's all good, right? But what if it fails? And there could be multiple levels of redundancy, like they could have a backup computer in case that computer has a little glitch. But it's scary because if it does fail, it could fail in catastrophic ways where when a mechanical system fails, and I'm not saying a mechanical steering wheel cannot fail, like, you know, cars get old and they deteriorate. Eventually it might jam up, seize up, whatever. But it's not going to be a sudden thing. It's very unlikely. It's like 1 in a billion, like 1 in a trillion, that you're suddenly going to like lose your steering without having any forewarning, any prior warning, right? Your wheel's going to slowly deteriorate and you're going to be like, well, this thing's getting fucked, and then one day you just replace it because you feel this is dangerous now. It's not just going to be like perfect and then suddenly bang, you're dead. Whereas a computer failure, if that computer is controlling that wheel directly, in theory anything could happen, right? If it fails, you could have your wheels just go bang, suddenly full lock one way, full lock the other way in an instant without any warning whatsoever. Like everything was going perfectly smooth, and then you had a Windows update or something. And now one day you're driving down the freeway and you want to go in a straight line, obviously, like, or if the road is straight. So you got your wheel, you know, you're holding it straight, playing your little video game, telling the computer to go straight, but then it glitches out and then it just goes bang, full lock, you're dead in 2 seconds. Like, that's it. Just imagine what would happen if you're driving an old car and you just full lock. Just think about what's going to happen. Your car's going to lose control in an instant and you can't recover it. Because once you full lock like that, at that speed, you know how roads are, you're going this way, you've got a dividing line, and you've got cars coming the opposite way, inches away from you, you know, it's a tight system. Like, driving is a dangerous thing. It's, you know, it depends how you drive. You can make it safe if it's all up to you. If you're mechanically linked to those wheels, you can make it safe, you know. I've been driving for a long time, and I consider myself a very safe driver because it's always in the back of my mind that one mistake can kill you instantly on the road. Like I said, you don't even have to full lock. You could just turn it a quarter way, and that's enough to send you into oncoming traffic. Bang, a truck squashes you. You're done. Right? And then you can fly by wire off to heaven. But that's the thing, guys. If the computer's controlling it, it can glitch out. You know how electronics are? Things fail all the time. Computers reset themselves for no reason. You know, you're using your computer and bang, it's like a reset. And I'm sure they have multiple levels of redundancy. Like I said, they've probably got a backup computer, maybe even a third backup or a second backup, you know, like a third unit. So yeah, they're probably very safe still, but the possibility is still there that without any warning whatsoever, you might have a glitch. Like I couldn't drive one of those cars, to be honest. And with a mechanical one, like I said, you're gonna get warnings. Like, you're gonna feel this like steering wheel just like seizing up over time. You know, you're not gonna just suddenly go from like perfect steering to like jammed wheel. Like, and it's not gonna full lock either. When a mechanical system fails, there's no way it's just gonna full lock without you telling it to. Impossible. What might happen is it might seize up on you and you might like not be able to steer. So then you can at least stop your car. You know, you're not just gonna die instantly. And wait for that. Fly by wire. That's flying by wire probably. But I'll talk about that after, like I've talked about the drive-by-wire. I'll talk a bit about fly-by-wire too. But the thing about aeroplanes is they're much more expensive, obviously, so there's a lot more quality control in all the components. They've probably got way more levels of redundancy. They've probably got like 5 levels of redundancy in an aeroplane. So I would say it's safer to fly by wire than it is to drive by wire. And when I talk about fly by wire, basically, you know, an airplane has like the rudders, the aileron or whatever, the aileron, the flaps, you know, the things that control the airplane in flight. They could be mechanically linked to the pilot's controls, right? But these days they're not. They're fly by wire. So it's the same thing I just mentioned. They're playing a video game in that cockpit, and then just sending the information to the computer, and the computer controls all the stuff, the flaps and everything. Right? So that's what fly-by-wire is, but I think it must be safer because it's an aeroplane, right? With cars, you know, a lot of these cars are Chinese too, and you know the kind of shortcuts they take. Gotway. Imagine a Gotway drive-by-wire system, like, hell no. Imagine an EUC drive-by, like, it couldn't be, to be honest, like, how could it be? It's like this, right? Imagine if instead of controlling your leg directly, because we use our legs to control an EUC, or our whole body really, but let's just say our legs. Instead of having direct control over your leg, imagine if you gave up that control to a computer system. So now you're just like sending signals from your brain into a microchip, and that has full control over your leg. And now you're relying on that thing to run perfectly as you ride your EUC. Like, who the hell would want that? You'd have to be insane. And that's what these people are doing in cars now. And people just buy them. Like, they have no idea what they don't even understand the technology for the most part. And the thing is, as well, because of the computer control over the steering, there's a lot more like automation going on. Like, you've got automatic lane assist, parking assist. I've driven like, it's a Havau Jolion, which has got drive-by-wire. And it's weird, like, say you tried to like steer into like a lane and there's a car there. If the sensor senses it, it won't let you. So it's like you're trying to steer and the thing is like, nah. You know, even though you could do it safely, like You know, who knows what you're trying to do? You might be trying to sneak past or whatever, and it won't let you because it's like, nah, you're too close. The thing is in control, guys, not you. So, you know, it could be good in a way because, like, it's kind of, you know, it seems safe for the thing to say, nah, you're too close. You know, you're doing something a little bit dangerous, so the system takes over. You know, as long as it works perfectly, all good. But like I said,
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
things can fail, and I freaking just dropped my fruit. Look at that. I was trying to like bust out the watermelon. Damn it. Oh well. We lost a bit of fruit, guys. There's fruit bats around here actually, so maybe we'll leave it for them. Anyway. People don't understand what they're doing with these things. They don't understand the danger they might be in. Like, even if you've got multiple levels of redundancy, there could be like a global failure where you've got like some rogue current going into the system and it just fries the computers, like fries all of them at once. And then who knows what would happen? Can the wheels just like, you know, the computer's in control. The computer can full lock either way, anytime it wants, at any moment, right? And you're just hoping it doesn't. You're just hoping it doesn't send you into freaking oncoming traffic. Head first into a semi-trailer without your knowledge. I mean, you know about it. You know about it. Not for long though. You'll be dead in like 2 seconds. Crazy. I think it's stupid. Like, it's insane, and it's more complex too. Instead of just making a simple rack and pinion system, they're now adding a computer in between. So it's still got a rack and pinion, but the computer's in charge. Full charge. What if you run low on battery and like the computer just like shuts down? Probably not. That probably can't happen because you probably like your car would stop first. But there's many possibilities, guys. It's a nice place, isn't it? Drive by wire. Why? Wire. Why the wire? That's what I asked. Let's start a fire with that. And speaking of fire, that gets me onto the next topic, is EV batteries and how dangerous the fumes are when they catch fire. Just not long ago, a firefighter in Melbourne, which is the next city over from me, got paralyzed because he tried to put out an EV fire and the fumes simply touched his skin. Can you believe that? That level of toxicity? This is like chemical warfare, right? Imagine if you breathe that in, just one breath of those fumes and you're dead like instantly. But it makes me wonder, right? It makes me wonder, do we have the same batteries in our EUCs? Like, I hope not, guys, because if we did, we're in the same kind of danger indoors, right? If you're outdoors, you probably escape in time, right? Because these batteries aren't as big as, you know, a car. I think the Tesla is like 30 times the size of like even the Sherman. So yeah, it's a lot more fumes coming out. So I wonder, do we have the same chemistry in these cells? Because if we do, watch out. And I got to figure this out. Someone please comment, do we? And I thought we did, right? Lithium cobalt is what I thought 90% of the cells that we're using are, but maybe EVs are different. I'm thinking they must be. Like, if you can, you know, this was outdoors too, by the way. This firefighter, he had no idea how dangerous these things were. And the government, our government, is responsible for this because They're pushing this stuff. They're talking about making EVs compulsory and outlawing gas cars. You know, I say gas. I mean, I sound stupid because I'm Australian. We say petrol, right? Petrol cars. And I said stupid because it sounds stupid for an Aussie to be saying gas and talking like an American. But for some reason I do that when I make a video. Like normally I never talk like that. But when I make a video, I feel like I'm talking to like a US audience a lot. Because, you know, a lot of viewers are from there, the USA. But anyway, a petrol car, I was about to say gas again. You can put it out with your garden hose. And it's not going to kill you if you get the fumes on your skin. It's not going to do anything. You can breathe that stuff in and like chuff it like a friggin' cigar. And you know, it's not going to be good for you, but it's not even going to like make you sick probably if you just did it once. Whereas an EV, all it has to do is touch your friggin' arm and you're done. Like a poisonous snake. I mean, a black mamba or something. Kill you like 100% of the time. Kill an elephant. You know, these things are freaking evil. And the government didn't warn anybody about this. They sent the firefighters out there who are government employees without any warning. And so this guy goes out there to try and put out an EV that's on fire on the road, outdoors, right? And they're so dangerous. He's like, he didn't die, but he's paralyzed for life. He can't walk anymore. And think about that. Just from touching your arm. It's not the only incident, like there's been other incidents. There was this one incident probably a month ago where there was a ship, a big, container ship, there's massive ships in the ocean carrying cars. And it only had like a few EVs on board. When I say a few, I don't know how many, like it might have been 20, I don't know, 50. And the rest of them were just normal cars, like gasoline cars. And one of the EVs caught fire. What a surprise. And it made a chain reaction because I think all the EVs were in the same compartment or like the same area. So it was like a domino effect. They all caught fire and it nearly sunk the whole ship. Like they had to limp back to port and this ship was just done. Like, it nearly sunk the whole thing and just killed everybody. That's how and I don't know about the fumes, if like anyone got messed up by the fumes. Perhaps, perhaps not, but imagine a future where all cars are EV, like the government wants, and you've got let's say in a hospital car park, in hospitals you've got huge car parks, indoors, all enclosed. One EV catches fire, they all catch fire. And then you've got a hospital full of deadly chemical warfare that can just kill anybody just like that. What? That's what the government wants, right? Because they're batshit insane. They're like, they don't even have a brain, to be honest. I think they're all robots or something. That makes sense that they want EVs because they're all, androids themselves. They're all puppets, to be honest. All our senators and prime ministers, presidents, they're all bought and paid for. It's called lobbying. They call it lobbying, but it's bribery, right? They get paid by massive corporations to do what the corporation wants, right? They want this stuff, There's many corporations that want us to move on to EVs for many reasons, right? It's a control thing as well. Like an EV can be controlled at a much greater level remotely than a normal car, right? EVs have many advantages, don't get me wrong. Like they accelerate really well because electric motors have extreme levels of torque at 0 RPM. That's an amazing characteristic in itself. For example, freight trains, the really long trains that have like, kilometers, miles worth of carriages, imagine how much they weigh. To pull one of those things, only an electric motor is capable, right? An electric motor has torque at 0 RPM, and that's why they have to use electric motors for those. Even though they use diesel to power the electric motor, it's like a diesel generator powering electric motors. right? If you tried to do it with just a standard gasoline motor, because they've got no torque at 0 RPM, you've got to bring them up to RPM, right? Up to like speed. And then you need a clutch that's going to slowly come together to start getting this thing moving. But because they're so heavy, there's no clutch in the world that's going to handle that kind of like wear and tear. Like just to get it from 0 to 1 mile per hour, you're going to wear out that clutch, right? That's how heavy these trains are. So gasoline motors can't even do that, only electric. They are amazing things. Same with an EUC, like there's no gasoline technology that I can think of that could be so compact in an EUC like this to have 260 kilometers of range, right? Stated, you know, we don't get that because it depends how fast you go, but we get a lot of range, don't we? For like a little briefcase, basically, with a wheel inside. So it's a briefcase, but there's a wheel inside, so you got no space in there. Like, it's amazing that they can get such a small thing to go so far. Think about to do that on gasoline, you need about a gallon of gas, about 4 liters of petrol to go 200 kilometers, you know? Ballpark figure, but it's definitely around there. So just to fit 4 liters of petrol in this thing is going to be tough, right? Think about a 4 liter, 1 gallon container. It's almost the size of this whole thing, right? Insane. But then you need the motor. You need all the cylinders. You need the clutch system. You need the fuel pump, the carburetor. There's a lot of components that go into a standard gasoline engine, even the simplest ones. So electric technology is amazing, but when it comes to cars, it does not make any sense whatsoever. Especially if you think it's greener. It's not greener at all, right? For starters, the transport sector only accounts for 10% of greenhouse gases, or like pollution overall, right? Not just greenhouse gases, but just total pollution. The transport sector is only 10%. It's nothing, right? So even if you swap every car for a bicycle, you're not going to do much at all. The world will barely change. Well, 10% it's not enough to make change at all. But you're not replacing these cars with bicycles, you're replacing them with these heavy ass EVs that weigh like 3 tons each. Because these batteries alone weigh like half a ton, right? These batteries are insane. They use like 20,000 cells for an EV, right? To save the planet. And then you got to throw that toxic shit away, that toxic shit that's like biological warfare, right? So imagine how bad that is for the planet if it can kill you just by touching, you know, just from those fumes touching you. What's it going to do to the planet when we start throwing all that away and just dumping it? It's not normal garbage, it's trash. I mean, it's warfare on the planet, right? And it's meant to be green. EVs are green, right? So it's worse than a normal car, to be honest, because of the whole life cycle. And in production, it takes a lot more energy to build an EV than it does a normal gas car, right? So you got more materials, more energy going into just producing the car, and then when you throw the car away, you're doing a hell of a lot more damage to the environment. For what? Just so you can save a little bit on your greenhouse gases while you drive the car? Not even, because how do you produce that energy? With coal-fired power plants mostly, in Australia at least, it's all coal. So these EVs run on coal, right? They run on coal because that's what gives them the energy. So they're garbage. And it's super inefficient because these coal-fired power plants are way out in the sticks, like out in the desert, you know? They got to transport all that energy through wires that are like 100 kilometers long or something. You know, imagine how much energy you lose, right? The longer the wire is when you transport electricity, the more you lose, right? And they're going 100 kilometers. It's like It's laughable. Man. And there's losses when you actually put that energy into the battery too, right? So there's losses everywhere. Hybrid? I think a hybrid makes a bit of sense. You use a small battery. Most hybrids, like the Jolion I was talking about, the Jolion, no, what is it? Jolion, frickin' forgot, but it's a Chinese hybrid car. Brand new, like, big four-wheel drive thingy. It's got a smaller battery than the Sherman, right? It's got like a 2 kilowatt hour battery, so they got very small batteries, and that battery gives them a big advantage in efficiency because they can use regen now. So every time they brake, just like us on an EUC, they put energy back into the battery, and that saves them from using more petrol, right? Gasoline. So I think hybrids make a lot of sense. But a pure EV with a half-ton battery that you're going to throw out and like destroy the environment, it's foolish. And it's extremely arrogant and ignorant to go around saying that you're saving the planet because of your EV, because you brought a brand new 3-ton monster with 20,000 lithium cells full of like chemical warfare. It's insane. Oh, it's not insane, it's just extreme ignorance. Like, they have no idea what they're talking about. But the biggest thing, I reckon, maybe not the biggest, but the thing that stands out to me is the domino effect of one EV catching, the bird's laughing even. One EV catches fire, and then they all catch fire. We're all dead, guys. It's like a freaking napalm bomb just goes off in your city. I mean, it's not the whole city, but a car park. Imagine a hospital car park, like I said, or any car park where you've got just cars crammed in like that, side by side. You got one catch fire, they all catch fire. Because they're volatile. It's not like a gasoline car. Like, they explode, they send out fireball. Like, you've seen even an EUC setting fire, like, it's intense. They send out fireballs like 20 meters long for half an hour, just pumping them out like it's nothing. You know? Like a flamethrower. Legit, like better than a flamethrower. More power. And you've got the deadly gas to go with it, so they should use it in war, to be honest. Like, just drop EVs on people, and that's what they'll do, these crazy bastards. Because, you know, these people in charge of the world, they like dropping bombs on people, right? Especially like civilians, kids. They drop bombs on kids, you know, for a living. They're doing it right now. Like, literally as I speak. So maybe what their idea is, like, when EVs pass their, you know, life cycle or whatever, they're going to recycle them as freaking military, what do you call it? Part of their arsenal, you know? Military, there's a word, what's that word? Ordnance. That's what they're going to do, guys. It's going to become military ordnance. So you're going to have like a B2 bomber or whatever with like 50 Teslas in the bottom bay, just ready to drop them one by one and just destroy like a whole city. I'm joking, guys, but they're super deadly things. And then there's the fact that most cars, or like most cars that are traveling on the road at any given moment, have an average of about 1.2 people inside. And that doesn't mean that people drive around with like chopped up body parts in their cars. It's just the average. It's like, out of 10 cars, you're gonna have 12 people in total, right? So it's like most people are driving around on their own, right? They're using a 3-ton EV. Not everyone drives EVs now, but in the future, let's say, when they force us to, people driving by themselves in a 3-ton brick running on freaking lithium cells. Like, how inefficient is that? How can they say it's good for the planet? It's disgusting. If you're not going to carry any passengers or any cargo, we should just use things like this, or scooters or bikes. If the government really cared about the environment, they would be doing that, not forcing us to use freaking EVs. So that's it. We'll end it there. Hopefully that stirred up a bit of thought, like maybe some people haven't thought about this. But that's where we're definitely going. Like, they've been talking about this for long enough that you can see that's what they're going to do. They're going to force it. They're going to outlaw gasoline cars to save the planet. And then force us into this chemical freaking way of life. And we're going to be running them on coal still. On coal. And I saw something interesting just recently, because you could say, oh, we can use solar panels. I think there's an argument to be said about that, but I don't know. You got to work it out. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say I know one way or the other. But I do know they have only like a 10-year life, right? So imagine a massive farm full of solar panels, and then in 10 years, you've got to throw all of them out and put new ones up. So that's not really great either. It's not that good. Maybe it's better than petrol, but maybe it's not. But one thing I did see recently, there was a big solar panel farm, and every single solar panel was destroyed in about 2 minutes when a hailstorm came. They never thought about that. Just hail, hail is like, for those that don't know, it's frozen rain. So you got ice balls forming from the sky and just bombing down on things. And they can do a lot of damage. And they just destroyed every single solar panel. So now they're all gone. They're going to chuck them out and get new ones. I think if we did it more locally, like if every house was built with solar panels, right? So we all had them on our roofs. I think that would be a lot better. It would be more efficient for one thing, because you're not transporting the electricity in long distances. And you might be able to like up the quality too, because you might be able to design them so they last longer. So it's like, perhaps not. And I talked about that in the last video, didn't I? Interestingly enough, that houses are designed like shit too, because they don't last very long either. They make them out of paper. But yeah, let's not rant on too much. We'll end it here, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out.